Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. How are you doing, cousins? And how are you doing, newbies to the channel? And if you are new, please consider subscribing to Tommy Banks Homestead. This is a garden and homesteading channel with a bit of news that you definitely can use. So today I decided I would do a news story over here, although I will be having garden and homesteading videos later today. I need you guys to see this, share this with anybody you know who is receiving food stamps, on the possibility of applying for the food stamps, because changes are happening, and changes are going to come really, really soon because we are under a new administration. Hey, Andale Homestead. Hey, how are you, Shatika? Hey, Granny Karma. And also, if you have some space, one way you can free up some money and not spend it in these grocery stores is to try to grow you some fruits and some vegetables. So I encourage you to please start growing. Find a place around your home that you can grow. If you live in an apartment, do you have a balcony? Can you grow upward instead of outward? Whatever you can do to ease the burden that's going to hit once the price of vegetables start to go up, that will be beneficial to you because not everybody's going to qualify for food stamps. Okay. um hey, D Washington, how are you? Me, I'm struggling to see, as you can see. So I'm going to jump right into it. Please hit the like button as you enter because I got a whole garden bed I got to go put together, y'all. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Can't even see. Let's see. So we're gonna go over the 4 changes that's happening with SNAP, but they might as well say a 5th change because in the other article that I have, it's gonna be some major changes. So we're gonna go over this real quick. So SNAP is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance. The largest federal nutrition assistance program provides benefits for eligible low-income individuals and families via electronic benefits on an EBT card. The USDA Food Nutrition Service oversees the SNAP. The program improves food security, and that is the goal, guys, to have food security, because right now a lot of people are going to face food insecurity because many people have lost their jobs. Many people are about to lose their jobs, government jobs and private sector jobs. So if you can have that buffer, that insurance policy of having some food in your home, that's one less thing that you have to worry about if you lose your job. So they say SNAP reduces the overall prevalence of food insecurity by as much as 30%. That number is going to rise. The more people lose their jobs, the more they cut programs, there is going to be food insecurity. Food banks are not going to be able to keep up. The USDA adjusts SNAP maximum allotments, deductions, and income eligibility standards at the beginning of each federal fiscal year. The fiscal year for 2025 began on October 1st, 2024, and the changes are based on adjustments to the cost of living, which they call COLA. So if you hear me say COLA, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. So eligibility and age in order to receive SNAP benefits. The rules right now, there are rules of eligibility based on age. The USDA gradually increases the age of what it calls able-bodied adults without dependents. Keep that in mind, and that's called ABAWD, able-bodied adults without dependents. Y'all about to lose y'all EBT, okay? They say, and adds new groups of individuals who are exempt from the ABAWD work requirement. Last year, ABAWD's age was 18 to 50, they moved that up to 52 now, had work requirements, which included working at least 80 hours a month, participating in a work program at least 80 hours a month, or participating in a combination of work and work program hours for a total of at least 80 hours a month. In 2025, these work requirements expanded to age 52, and requirements will expand to age 54 as of last year, October. It expanded to 54. But remember, our president said he needs to make cuts. And this is what they're going to cut. They're going to cut these ABAWD client, I guess you'd call them clients. It says, however, there are some exemptions to the ABAWD work requirement. For instance, you are excused if you are unable to work due to a physical or mental limitation, if you are pregnant, if you are a veteran, or if you are homeless or age 24 or younger in a foster care on your 18th birthday. You're exempt from the ABAWD work requirements. But all the other ones who are able to get up and nothing wrong with you, you don't have any kids, so you can't say you having childcare issues, you're going to have to find a way to get a job or get in a program that can help you get a job. You are eligible for SNAP benefits if you do not exceed the following gross monthly income limit: 130% of the federal poverty level. If you are applying for SNAP or curious if you have SNAP eligibility, for fiscal year 2025, the FNS increased maximum allotments and shelter caps for most U.S. states and territories. The cost of living adjustments came into effect October 1st of 2024. The maximum allotment will increase for the 48 states and Washington, D.C., Alaska, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The maximum allotment for a family of 4 in the 48 states and D.C. will be $975. For the maximum allotment for a family of 4 in Hawaii will decrease to $1,723. Maximum allotments for a family of 4 will range from $1,258 to $1,953 in Alaska. The maximum allotment for a family of 4 will be $1,437 in Guam and $1,254 in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The minimum benefit for the 48 states and D.C. will remain the same at $23. The minimum monthly payment in Alaska ranges from $30 to $47, while in Hawaii it is $41. So the maximum allotments, though receiving benefits, is often based on your net income, which means your gross income minus allowable deductions. The amount of SNAP household benefits can vary by location and family size. It's also important to factor in the cost of living for Social Security, and supplemental security income benefits was 2.5% in 2025. So here are the maximum allotments for SNAP in the 48 contiguous states and DC. Household size of 1, you get $292. Household size of 2, you get $536. 3, you get $768. Size 4 is $975. Size 5 is $1,158. Size 6 is $1,390. Size 7 is $1,536. Size 8 is $1,756. And each additional person is $220. Now, that being said, let's go on over here to this other article, because it's some new things that's going to cut this, what I just read, out. This is what's happening now, what people are allowed. Let me go over here. Give me 1 second. 1 second, 1 second. Okay. So it's saying here, because this is something that's about to happen. I don't know if it'll pass, but most likely it will. Millions of low-income households would lose food aid under proposed House Republican SNAP cuts. And they say cuts would take assistance away from people in every single state. So you don't have to say, is my state going to be one? If they pass it, your state is one. Everybody's state is one. Okay, so the budget resolution that the House plans to take up this week directs the House Agricultural Committee, because that's who's over it now, to cut programs in its jurisdiction by at least $230 billion through 2034. With these cuts expected to come largely on entirely from SNAP and to be used to help pay for tax cuts for the wealthiest business owners and households. The narrow budget resolution adopted by the Senate instructs the Senate Agricultural Committee to cut at least $1 billion over the same period, though the actual cuts sought through this process and in the second budget resolution expected later this week, which today is Friday, could be much deeper. Substantial cuts to SNAP would mean households with low incomes in every state would lose support they need to put food on the table, which is going to worsen the food insecurity that I talked about earlier in the hardship. And y'all can let me know what y'all think, because if you able-bodied, there's nothing wrong with you. No reason why you can't go to work. I'm all for it. But if you have issues, then yeah, you need help, period. But you have some who do take advantage of that. And so now these things are happening. And I don't know how to feel about it, honestly, because it's like, so it says the specific policies of the House and Senate Agriculture Committee will pursue to make these cuts are still unknown. But one thing is clear, lawmakers cannot cut $230 billion or anything close to that amount from SNAP without slashing benefits, restricting eligibility, or some combination of both. Republican lawmakers could make these benefit or eligibility cuts directly through changes to federal SNAP policy, but they could also enact them indirectly by shifting costs to states, forcing state officials to decide whose benefits will be cut and by how much. Regardless of how Republican lawmakers enact a cut of this magnitude, this would slash more than 20% from a program that helps more than 40 million people, including 1 in 5 children, afford groceries. And let's not forget the free lunches and those programs as well. So lawmakers may use several harmful options to impose these deep SNAP cuts, including immediately cutting benefits for all SNAP participants by an average of $1.40 per day. Lawmakers could cut SNAP by $230 billion by rolling back the 2021 update to the Thrifty Food Plan and permanently freezing its costs outside of annual inflation adjustments. Based on a recent Congressional Budget Office estimate, the 2021 update to the TFP, which is the basis for SNAP benefit levels, adjusted the real purchasing power of SNAP benefits for the first time in nearly 60 years. And let's not forget, they're also considering controlling the SNAP, the ones who get to keep it, where you can't purchase like your junk food and all that other stuff. You can only purchase like fruits and vegetables, period. So yeah, they say if you want it, you're gonna have to pay for it yourself. Let's see. The resulting increase in SNAP benefits lifted more than 2 million people, including nearly 1 million children, above the poverty line when it went into effect, with the greatest poverty reducing impact for Black and Hispanic individuals, reversing this update and restricting future increases would slash SNAP benefits for all participants immediately upon taking effect. With the cut growing deeper over time, the average SNAP benefit in fiscal year 2026 is projected to be only $6.40 per person per day. Under this proposal, each SNAP participant would lose an average of $1.40 per day initially, cutting the daily average benefit to only $5 per person by 2034. This policy would slash the average daily benefit from $8 per person per day to only about $5.85 based on your analysis of CBO's projection. This would make it more difficult for more than 40 million people to afford groceries, 90% of whom are in households with children, older adults, or people with disabilities. And let me tell you, that hardship is going to be hard. When you already have companies out here like Walmart saying, yeah, we're going to, like last year, they were like, yeah, we're the CEO, we're going to cut, prices. But then as you read further into the article, you're seeing, yeah, this is going to be like on electronics. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but when I go to Walmart, whether I'm doing a store walkthrough for a video or if I'm just grabbing something, I'm always hearing, oh, price drop in electronics. It's almost like how Kmart used to be like, oh, we got a blue light special going on, but it's always in electronics. You're not going to see, oh, let's go over here. We got 10% off on these eggs over here that cost $28 now. Or we got 5% off on this ground beef over here that costs $34 now. No, you're not going to see that. You're going to see it on things that people aren't really buying, and they're trying to get you to buy because they see that people have readjusted how they're spending their money. So these companies are taking a hit, and while they are reducing prices in certain areas they just are not, or can't, or refuse to. So it says taking SNAP away from more than 9 million low-income people in an average month. If lawmakers don't want to cut SNAP benefits, as a representative said, has indicated, they could instead make these cuts by ending SNAP eligibility entirely for certain participants, but reaching $230 billion in cuts solely through reduced participation will require removing more than 9 million people who are receiving SNAP right now. So because nearly all SNAP households include a child, an older adult, or someone with a disability, it would not be possible to completely protect those households from an eligibility cut this massive. So y'all, a lot of people are going to be losing their SNAPs if this goes through. And I just wanted to keep y'all informed on what is going on. But I'm going to go over to this one girl. She had something on TikTok. And I thought it was poignant. I didn't know where she was going with it at first, but I like where she took it. So I'm going to end the video with her speaking. Is that her? Yeah, did I lose it? 1 second. Where did it go? I only have 2 TikToks pulled up. That's not it. Oh, that is it. Okay.
Fact that you get food stamps, so you're paying forward back into what you took when you were on food stamps, and you're also building a life in which you can sustain for your
pause. I was watching it.
Change effect. Cobb, Gwinnett, and Hall counties. Chancellor Sophia Choi is live in Cobb County. And Sophia, this involves able-bodied adults who are now required to go to work.
Okay, y'all. It has started. It has started. And the only reason why I stitched this video is so that I can bring a different perspective of what is happening. Now, if you don't know, from my understanding, starting in Georgia, it has started to where if you are an able-bodied citizen that has no dependents, you are now required to go to work or join a workforce program to prepare you to get into the workforce, and you are no longer allowed to have food stamps. Now, I see a lot of people stitching videos saying, oh, this is what you guys voted for, this is what you asked for, and now you're getting it, blah, 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 blah. As I said in the beginning of the video, I am only stitching this situation because I want to give a different perspective to the people who will be affected by this change. So here's my testimony, just a small bit of my life. When I was 18 years old, my dad had a rule that if you're going to live in his house past the age of 18, because at that point you're grown, the responsibility of taking care of your child in that manner is no longer there, that I had to have a job and I had to financially contribute to the house. Or I had to be in college with a part-time job pursuing a career. I personally did not want to go to college, so I decided to do the work route. And I was working at a college in the cafeteria part-time. And I was paying the bills my dad had required, or like the amount that he required, but I didn't have much left over for me to begin building a life for myself. Little did I know, making that decision of keeping a part-time job and not pursuing a job that could make it to where I could eventually move out and afford to live on my own ended me homeless by my decision. Something was said to me to where I just chose to leave to respect my parents' home, and I ended up homeless at the age of 18. I share that little tidbit of my life to say this. My dad could have easily changed his requirements in his home and changed, took back what he said to me that made me leave. Because I want to emphasize again, he didn't tell me to leave. I chose to leave because I didn't like what was said to me and I wanted to respect my parents. But he could have easily changed his regulations to make my life easier, but he didn't. That decision to leave my parents' house at 18 bolted me into who I am today. When I left my dad's house, I was jumping from friends' houses to my grandma's house. It was like a good year and a half, I believe, that I was like technically homeless because I had no place to call home and I was living out of my suitcase. And then, I'll share the rest of the story another time if you guys would like. But long story short, I ended up living with my grandma and I ended up having my first big girl job with Wells Fargo and starting a career. So now let's bring what I'm trying to say full circle. A lot of people are seeing this situation of no longer being able to be on food stamps. Now, listen to the requirements. It's for the people who are able-bodied, meaning there's absolutely nothing wrong with you as to why you should not be getting up and going to work. And number two, they have no dependents. So there's no scheduling reason, no babysitting. There's no reason why you should be getting food stamps and you're an able-bodied person with no dependents, okay? So for my people who are making this seem like a bad thing, I need you to stop. Because from my experience in life, when pressure is applied, you either crack and crumble or you put pressure back and you get up and you do what you need to do to succeed. I don't know very many successful people who cracked under pressure. So if you're one of those people who food stamps is now being taken, God has to make you uncomfortable to get you to the next place in which he has for you to be. So see this as a blessing and a motivation to get off of whatever you're sitting on and get on your feet and start, putting back into society what you took, because that's other people being able to pay into the fact that you get food stamps. So you're paying forward back into what you took when you were on food stamps, and you're also building a life in which you can sustain for yourself to where you're not depending on the government to feed you. I'm gonna leave you with these last two things. Number one, last I checked, the Bible says that those who do not work do not eat. And those who are lazy, poverty will jump on their back like a thief in the night. Look around you with all you having being food stamps and whatever else you're doing to make money. Is that enough? Why are you okay with living with the bare minimum? Why are you okay living a life in which someone else can dictate whether or not you eat. Because right now you have set yourself in a situation that since the government said no more, you no longer have the financial stream that you need to feed yourself and your family if you have one. Don't ever get complacent in life depending on anything but God. I love y'all. That's it. That's all.
Now they are.
Now, when I tell you, she said a mouthful. I agree completely. Completely. We all find ourselves, well, most of us find ourselves in a place sometimes where we do need extra help, but we cannot be complacent in once we get that help. Well, dang, it feels comfortable here. You know, you got to get up out that comfortable place you're in, because that comfortable place is relying on someone else to feed you. You gonna have to feed yourself. You gonna have to feed your kids. And if you're able to do so, you need to go ahead and get started doing that now. Great time. Great time. Now is a great time, if ever, to start a small pantry. While you still getting your food stamps before they cut them off, you better go and stock up your house to give yourself that little buffer to find you a job that can pay for the food stamps being replaced by your own money, because you're going to get way less with your own money than you getting with these food stamps. Let me tell you. I'd be embarrassed sometimes. I go in the store. Oh my goodness, I just got a little bit of stuff in my cart. And then you see people with, and I don't know where, they could be working and paying for it, because there are times where me and my husband, we do a meat run. That ain't easy, doing a meat run. You hear me? Meaning all we buying is meat, because everything else we already pretty much got, we can make a meal with. So yeah, definitely don't allow, it's about control. And a lot of people say if they control the food, they control the people, they can get you to do whatever it is they need you to do, because you need something from them. So don't, if you're in that space, try to get out of that space. I'll say that. If you're in that space, try to get out of that space. It ain't going to be easy, but nothing worth having is easy. It's going to be backbreaking. It's going to be fingernail chip breaking. You know what I'm saying? Out there in that garden. But it's worth it when you look back at all that you have accomplished to try to offset some of the money that you're spending in the grocery store. Well, if I can grow some bell peppers, I don't need to buy this one bell pepper for 87 cents when I can just buy a pack of seeds and grow however many I want. Chop them, freeze them, chop them, dehydrate them, whatever. Why am I buying one tomato for $1.57 when I could buy that pack of seeds for $1.57 and grow my tomatoes and have way more than one? And you can can them and you can freeze them. So I pray that everyone who is on it finds a way to get off of it if they have the ability to do so, meaning you don't have any disability, you're not, elderly, you're not any of those things that they're talking about, but you have a strong back and you can do it. You ain't got no dependents. That is the best time of all. Not having a dependent, that means everything you get, you don't have to worry about feeding nobody but yourself. Because those mouths are a lot. Okay, and it don't get any easier as they grow up. They eat even more. They eat even more. And I love her testimony, because a lot of people, like I was saying, Make It Make Sense was saying that was the rule that they had in their house. Hey, Martin. And a lot of people have those rules. Heck, I'm sitting here considering those rules right now. I have an 18-year-old. I'm like, look at here now. I'm doing way too much around here. I don't have no little, I have children, but I don't have no little children. So, you know, it seems harsh when you're talking to your child, you know, and you're like, well, can you get me this or can you give me, well, you got a whole job. She said, could you do me a favor yesterday? Can you buy me some Dove soap? Because I have sensitive skin. I said, okay. I got it. I got the bar of Dove soap. Well, I got the 3-pack. I said, look at your soap right there. She's like, oh, thank you. I said, now cash out me my $7 because that was $6 and some change. Cash out me $7. She just looked at me like I was crazy, but she cashed out me that money. Because, you know, I have been paying for it. But then when I feel like people are not appreciative of the things that you do, like you got to do it. No, I got to do it when you're a child, but I don't got to do it when you're an adult. And especially when, you know, they want to be a child. Children want to be a child when it benefits them. But then when you tell them they shouldn't do this, this, that, and the third, they're like, I'm grown. Don't let them play on you. Don't let them kids play on you because they will. They will. Hey, how are you? Hey, Sarda, how are you? I didn't know you were in here. Hey, Veronica, how are you? But yeah, a lot of people make food stamps and the I forgot what you call the welfare. Make that like a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's this money, and then I'm gonna work, but this is that money. Eventually, it catches up to you. And I understand needing food stamps, even if you're working, because it is hard. It is definitely hard. I had my first child when I was 19 years old. I was living with my mother, but it was from an abusive relationship. And so it was very, very hard. But I knew that I had to work. I was working while I was pregnant. You're not going to sit up in my mama's house and I work. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You know, so I did have assistance. I didn't want to get on assistance. She was like, you just before I found a job, she was like, you need to apply for some help. Because if you think I'm going to feed you and now you got a mouth to feed too, you know, because I had to flee the abusive relationship and go back to my mother. So I used it as a stepping stone. I didn't want nobody telling me how much money I can get to spend, whatever, with this, that, and the third. That just wasn't it for me. So nowadays they even offer programs to pay for, I don't know if they still do, but you know, but they used to offer programs where they pay for you to go to school for like nursing assistant or whatever. I went for nursing assistant, but I paid for that myself. They didn't have those programs. You know, I'm an old lady. But I remember going to take my final exam, and at that time I had 2 babies. I had a child at 19 and a child at 20. That's why I say I have 2 sets of kids. Young and dumb. Love my children, but I was young and dumb. And people make their lives more difficult than they have to. I made mine more difficult than I had to. So if I can tell you, don't make your life more difficult than you have to. If you don't have any children right now, be thankful. Take advantage of the fact that you don't have any children. You don't have anything tying you down, keeping you from doing this job and maybe 3 more if you want to. Okay. I had both my kids in a stroller and walked all the way to the technical college I was doing nursing assistant in, because I was determined I'm not going to miss this final exam. I need to be able to make some money. Back then, nursing assistant wasn't making no money. wasn't making no money, but it was more money than I was making working at a gas station. So while everybody hollering about we need to make $18, we need, how you listen here. I think my first job was as a nursing assistant after going to school. Now, mind you, you can do these courses now in 2 weeks. I don't know what you learn in 2 weeks, but you can do them in maybe 2 to 6 weeks. My course was 6 months. So we all have to do what we have to do to get out of the situation that we are in. You get what I'm saying? So hopefully, you know, the people that will be removed are just the people who are able-bodied. I don't want to see people who have disabilities, who are elderly, who are veteran, who are homeless, having to deal with now this. You see what I'm saying? How I'm going to do this. And while some people do work with disabilities, there are some disabilities that don't allow people to work. So thank y'all for coming in. I'm about to go because I need to go put this garden bed together for a video and do some other things around here. But I appreciate y'all coming in. Again, I will have another, maybe 2 videos, but I definitely will have another video later today. And then on my other channel, Tommy Bites 2.0, where you get all the news you can use. I won't touch on this, but I have some other stories also, that some things that just happened a few minutes ago and a couple of days ago. So right, Barbara, 6 months. I don't know what they learned in 6 weeks. My goodness. I don't know if I want somebody taking care of me with a six week. I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Talk to y'all later. Y'all, thanks for coming in. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like. And I would love for you to join the channel, subscribe, and let's grow our food together, y'all. Let's stockpile our food together. Let's prepare together. Let's give each other the tips and ideas. Let's lean on each other, because that's what it's going to take, a community to push us up and motivate us to do things, because sometimes we don't always feel like getting up and getting out to do something. You just want to sit down and rest a little while, like the old song go. Sit down and rest. Let me stop. I always do that. You know, I'm telling my age. Bye, y'all. Love you guys, but God truly loves you more.